Hello folks, David here with another video, and I did want to squeeze this one in before the end of the year. We're going to be having another look at some of that flat earth theory, but to be perfectly honest, this one has far more of a sort of model making slant to it, and to be perfectly honest, it's one that I've wanted to mess about with for a little while in terms of camera photography, just in order to show some of my models off a little bit better. But it does have a bearing on the flat earth debate, because sometimes things can be different when seen
from a certain point of view.
And yes, there is a reason that I will get into shortly as to why I chose that clip, and as to why I'm wearing this particular t-shirt. All will become clear. Now, if you are a die-hard follower of either Team Globe or Team Flat, this video is not going to change your mind whatsoever. However, if you're sitting on the fence and wondering whether or not one side has maybe got it wrong, this may be the one for you. Now, one of the most basic arguments that we have of globe versus flat is the way that the sun acts in the sky. Now, science says that the earth travels around the sun, and the reason why the sun goes across the sky like that is because we are travelling around it and our perspective is changing from a moving object. Whereas flat earthers will say, well, the ground doesn't appear to be moving, and yet the sun looks as if it is circling around us. Therefore, the earth must be stationary and it is the sun that is moving. Well, what if I told you that your eyes could be deceived? To show you what I'm talking about, here's a quick experiment you can do at home, and for it you will need cell phone with a camera. Find yourself a nice piece of blank wall or board or something like that. No patterns, no wallpaper, nothing like that. It's got to be nice and blank. And pop your finger up in front of it just like this. Now, move your finger from side to side. Next time, move the camera from side to side. Can you actually tell the difference? Was it the camera moving, or was it the hand moving? Now, you did it yourself, but why don't you show somebody else and see what they think? Can they tell the difference? If you can tell the difference, drop a comment down below. 1, 2, 3. Was it hand moving or was it camera moving? But what's that got to do with the Star Wars references, I hear you ask? A very good question, which I shall answer now. Well, I'll go back in time a little bit first.
Get on with it.
I first got interested in model making when I was really small. Yes, there were family members that introduced me to the hobby, and I was absolutely fascinated by toy soldiers and the way they painted them and models they were making. It was the old Air Force kits. But I was also subject to some of the old movies. Now, one of my favourite ones, and this absolutely wowed me, was work of Ray Harryhausen. Now, he was one of the pioneers of stop motion animation, and this stuff just absolutely blew your mind. Fighting skeletons, what's not to love about that? Now, unfortunately for stop animation at the time, the method of doing it was to basically light up your miniature, take a shot, move it a little bit, take another shot, possibly reposition all your lighting so that you were getting the shots perfectly, and it was very much time consuming because it's what, 30 frames per second? So 30 frames just for 1 second of film. Imagine how long that actually took them. Absolutely brilliant stuff. So that's a sort of fantasy element covered off. Move forward a couple of years and you've got the work of Jerry Anderson, Thunderbirds, Captain Scarlet, Space 1999. That guy and his team were absolutely brilliant model makers, and let's face it, for something which was about that big, imagining it flying through space because of the way they shot it, it was just absolutely brilliant stuff. Now, for those shots of space flight, yes, there was movable camera rigs and a lot was done in real time with Eagle transporters flying on guide wires with invisible stuff, and most of the time, yeah, they could get away with it. Not necessarily on the early stuff, and if you go all the way back to the likes of the original Larry Buster Crabbe and Flash Gordon, the string was totally visible, but it was so believable. You really just wanted to immerse yourself in it and let your imagination paint out the obvious flaws. But in the mid-70s we were blessed with scenes like this on the big silver screen. Enter a chap by the name of John Dykstra. Now, during the course of filming Star Wars, they developed what became known as the Dykstra Flex system. Obviously theirs was a massively big rig. It had stepper motors and computer control, so that essentially they could repeat each and every shot and apply different effects to it every time they did a pass. But the core concept of it was really, really simple. You took a model miniature like this, you put it on a stand, you lit it all from proper angles, and then instead of moving the model, you move the camera towards it. And from the camera's point of view, it basically looks as if that thing is flying past you. Now, when it comes to camera systems, I am no expert. Realistically, for a video like this, you should have had somebody like Dave McKeegan. I will leave a link to his channel down below. For the wargamers, some of you may find his videos very informative, especially the one where he explains the Knickerbine guiding system that Germany used during the Second World War to guide its bombers over targets in Britain. Absolutely brilliant stuff, well worth a watch. But apart from being very informative, he is also a camera expert in and of his own right. I, however, am not. But I do want to give the Dykstra Flex system a shot, so I'll show you how I'm going to do it. Right, what have we got here? Okay, I've got a green screen for the background. That's the first thing. This, instead of a complete Dykstra Flex system with rails and dollies and things like that, this is my dolly system. It's a car. I'm going to be doing the filming on a cell phone, and I am going to be mounting it at a slightly oblique angle, and I'll explain why in just a second. But the idea is that this is what is going to be doing the smooth motion. Now, when I first conceived of this, this was the miniature that I'd hoped to use, but unfortunately, as you can see, there are sections on it where I have, used green paint, so it doesn't matter which angle I get it from. If I put that against the green screen, chances are that is going to go translucent and it is going to ruin the effect. So unfortunately, that is out. I do, however, have this little fella. Okay, so we're going to go all Ray Harryhausen and we're going to go back to dinosaurs. This is going to be the object that is being filmed, and I have got a flying stand for it drying. It's green as well, so hopefully against the green screen that can get removed, and it is going to be sitting at a kind of angle like that, and as the camera goes towards it, hopefully the shot that I get in practical terms will have it looking as if it is kind of swooping towards us. That is the plan. Now, obviously I've got this main camera rig here that I'm using. This is going to be the secondary camera. When I show it, I will have both pieces of film simultaneously on the screen so that you can see it being done in real time. What I will say is that there will be a mismatch between the film speeds. I'm not going to edit the footage of either camera in any way, shape or form. The difference in the speeds and the fact that it's going to go out of synchronization is due to the fact that there is a different frame rate on this camera as opposed to that camera. Hey, if you'd wanted that kind of synchronization, you should have got Dave McKeegan, not me. That's the plan. Let me get this constructed, that on a stand, and let's film this. Alright, everything is set up. I don't think you can probably see it, but a large amount of this is held together with plasticine. So, let me start recording on this one. And in 3, 2, 1. And finish. And here's the shot with a backdrop. Alright, on the downside, that was pretty dire. On the upside, I managed on my first attempt to get special effects to round about the same standard as a 1980s episode of Doctor Who, and let's face it, they broadcast that to absolutely millions. On a personal note, yeah, I think I can probably do more with that particular system. There's a few things to iron out, and certainly I need to get the lighting better because getting rid of the green screen was an absolute nightmare. Being able to do sort of like a move past the miniature at a different angle than just straight head on is a bit of a bonus. It's not an effect that you can get with just the straight zoom function on video editing software. And I guess that's the whole point. Anything in nature is not achieved through the use of video editing software. You look up at the sky and that's the sun. You're not looking at it through a computer screen, you're looking at it in real life. It has to be practical. What I showed you there was a practical effect, moving the perspective of your point of view. And if you want another practical effect, if in the near future you're lucky enough to be able to take an airline flight, when you book your seat, see if you can manage to get one with a window seat, obviously, because everyone wants the window seat, but one which is going to be on your particular flight facing the sun. And have a look out the window and see exactly where the sun is. And then check a couple of minutes later and see whether or not the sun has actually moved. Does the sun actually move that quickly? Or has the change come about because there has been a change in attitude of the aircraft and your point of view has suddenly changed as well? Now, you may well have felt the aircraft move, but that does go along with what globe earthers say, in that you don't actually feel a constant movement. You only feel changes in speed due to acceleration or in turning because you kind of get thrown off to one side. And that is in and of itself centrifugal force. Or is it centripetal? I can never remember the difference between the two. I'm not a scientist, I'm a modeller. Anyway, I do hope that you have enjoyed watching this video when seen from a certain point of view. Yeah, I had to get one more Star Wars thing in before the end. If you managed to make it this far, please do hit the like and subscribe. Remember to leave a comment down below, especially on that finger bit. This is a small channel. It would be absolutely brilliant if by Christmas I could get up to 500 subscribers. Woo! The heady heights. But until next time, I'll see you guys. Toodle pip.